the House of Black has teased a brand new member of its ranks. Is it Julia Hart, who we have seen acting suspiciously, erratically, some may say, in her sort of in-ring segments, wearing the old eye patch? Could it be Penta Baddie that we saw in Lucha Underground and was teased last week? Or is it formerly Buddy Murphy, now Buddy Matthews, joining the House of Black? Let's find out. Let's discuss. This is the AEW Dynamite review. I am Luke Owen, D-A-D, and I'm joined once again by your Jam That Champion, representing the WrestleTalk Podcast, because he is on every single show at the moment, while Ollie Davis is unwell. Chopper P. Quinnell.
Hello. Hi. You said I'm on every show. Not on tomorrow. Also not on Saturday on my usual slot.
But you have been on. You were on Dynamite last week.
Yep.
You were on the SmackDown review.
Yep.
You were then on Raw.
Yep.
You were then on the NXT show.
Yep.
You were then on the Prediction show.
Yep.
And you're on the show tomorrow. No, sorry, you're on the show today.
Yep. It's a few.
And then you're off because I'm doing the SmackDown review this week. And then Ollie and Andy. And then me and Andy are doing the review of Elimination Chamber on the Sunday.
I didn't even plan to be off during the Saudi show, but it works out because I was off for Crown Jewel last year as well. And now I'm off for Elimination Chamber. Works out great.
Pete is the hardest working man in this building. It's a genuine fact, actually, by the way. I do think that you work harder than most of us here. Maybe not Terry, but...
Maybe not Terry.
Terry
works insanely hard, yeah.
But I think, you do so much. Like we were doing at our team meeting yesterday. It was like, what's everyone doing today? And I was like, I've emailed some people, done some business stuff. Later on, I'm going to test out some streaming stuff. But, apart from that, what are you doing, Pete? Bang, 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 bang. Basically, because Ollie does nothing these days. Basically did all of the news for Ollie Davis.
Just calling out. He presented 2 videos yesterday.
All I'm saying is I just wish he'd pull his finger a little bit more, you know what I mean? Pull his finger out. Just sitting there, filling his asshole. Just do some work, for God's sake. Anywho.
Just calling him out when he's not even on the show.
Well, let's be honest, Pete. He's not watching.
He's definitely not, is he?
I'll get a message from him now being like, I'm watching the podcast. He's not. Anyway, let's talk about this episode of Dynamite. In particular, the segment that came right at the end of the show. So we had the team, the commentary team said, we heard from Penta last week, a bit of a tease from him of a new direction. And now let's hear from the House of Black. And it cuts to the compound where the House of Black tend to hang out, the Kings/Knights of the Black Throne. And then just sort of, it's the usual Malakai Black, spooky skeletons.
Yep.
And then Brody King is sort of looking there, tapping his fingers, being like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about.
He is all of us watching, being like, hey, this is kind of cool, but what are you talking about, man?
There's even at one point he just sort of looks at his watch to be like, cool, Tom. What are we doing next, eh?
Yeah.
When do we play speedrunners? I brought my pad and everything.
I ran to Stratford and back.
Literally only makes sense to audio listeners.
Literally.
And then he's like flipping over his tarot cards as he oft does. And then Brody King, essentially at the end of it, just goes like, sorry, who are we waiting for?
Can you just tell me one more time?
Just one more time what we're doing for. And then Malakai says, history. And a figure emerges. And if you've seen the thumbnail for this video, it's impossible to make out what that is. Because
sure is.
We shouted at the enhance, enhance, enhance further, sharpen, enhance. And it just this blurry mess that we put as a thumbnail.
On Photoshop, sharpen more, sharpen edges.
Sharpen more is an option.
It's an actual option. And you can sharpen more before you sharpen. It doesn't make any sense. Come on, Photoshop, figure it out.
So anyway, it's this blurry thing. It's not. It probably actually isn't Buddy. It's probably not even the person it actually is going to be. Like, it could be Buddy Matthews, could be anyone else, but it probably isn't the person that it even was, because you can't really see who it was. And then it just got cut away almost instantly. It was very hard to even get the screenshot of this. So we now got a new member of the House of Black, which potentially could debut next week.
Yeah,
because there is a rematch next week of Kings of the Black Throne versus Death Triangle. So there's every chance we could see that debut next week. Now, coincidentally, Fightful Select, great work that they do over there at Fightful Select, reported yesterday Buddy Murphy is now Buddy Matthews, and he may also be All Elite, according to some within the company. Matthews has been a free agent since about September and told Fightful he wasn't quite sure of where he'd land. He's worked a plethora of indies as well as dates for MLW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, but we haven't heard details on him signing anywhere. Sources within AEW in recent weeks have indicated that there was a growing interest and rumblings about Matthews joining the company in some capacity, with some even heard there were creative pitches made, and another source going as far to say that that creative is already decided. We've not confirmed the latter. Several talents in AEW have been told that the working plans is to bring in Buddy Matthews, which has been going around since January.
Very, very interesting stuff.
Isn't it just?
And I personally think that it is Buddy Matthews. I would love it to be, because I think it makes a lot of sense with their history in WWE. They had the linked promos when they left. Their vignettes were kind of taking place in the same continuity. And also, I don't know if you picked up on this in the little promo, Luke.
You teased me with this
earlier.
earlier.
And I said, actually, I'll save it for the podcast.
Yeah, you came in and you were like, oh man, did you see that bit in the promo? And I said, actually, I didn't, Pete. He was like, save it for the podcast, Pet, and we'll have a chat about it then.
Sure, yeah.
These shows are very silly when Ollie isn't here.
So stupid. As part of the promo, I can't remember exactly at what point when Malakai Black's talking, but there's at one point when I think it might have been when Brody King said, "Who are we waiting for?" In the very back, you can just hear
knock at the door. Yeah,
knocking at the door. Knocking at the door, Luke.
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy's Aleister Black's thing was knocking on the door when he was in WWE, and who answered it? Cesaro, and also Buddy Murphy.
That's very true. Also, a request from a friend of mine: can we not bang the table? Because it gets picked up quite heavily on these microphones. I was speaking to him yesterday. He was like, "Pete was banging the table constantly." I was like, "Yeah, Pete was really banging that table," ignoring the fact that I had done it earlier in the show.
I have respect for our blue baby. It's great.
Wonderful blue baby.
Yes.
So I thought that maybe there's something on the tarot cards that would I don't know, like one of them was said ginger or something, and that's like
one of them says Buddy.
Yeah, like the tarot card for friend, like whatever it is. But yeah, like I think this is most likely going to be Buddy Matthews. I think if it was Julia Hart, they'd have just said,
yes,
it's Julia Hart. No, do I believe that? Because they have been doing teasers for it, but they never outwardly said. And I think if this was the Julia Hart reveal, it would have been a bigger reveal than just a shadowy figure in the background. I think it would have been more of a tease that it is Julia again, as opposed to it just being a shadowy figure that could be any Tom, Dick, or Harry.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that, and I honestly don't know where the Julia Hart thing is going at this point, because it feels like, because it feels like they've kind of been meandering a little bit around it, because it's like, the people that he sprays in the eyes, they have this effect on the people, and then that kind of changed because Pac came back, but then he couldn't see, but then he could see, which he just revealed in the middle of a match, and like it all seems a bit like higgledy-piggledy as to what it actually happens with it.
He sprayed Cody and he left.
Yeah, that's what happens. He turned heel with that, so maybe it is that. So I don't know if the Julia Hart thing is still happening at all. I don't know whether it was just like a little thing to be like, wear an eye patch for a bit to put over the mist. Like, I don't know.
Actually, I mean, she has been acting weird on TV.
Yeah.
And like she makes a lot of references to it on Twitter and things like that. I would argue, I think they have let that steam go.
Yes.
Like, I think there was quite a lot of fan interest in Julia Hart joining the House of Black, particularly when they were having those matches with Griff Garrison and his mate, Brian Pillman. But I don't think they have really capitalized in that sense. And I think a lot of that has died off.
Yes. And
I think we need to have like Varsity Blondes back on TV to kind of kickstart that again. I think it's basically all have just been moved to dark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think for me, like, I agree with you. I think this probably isn't Julia, right?
No, I don't see that coming, and I don't think it's going to be Penta either.
It would be weird. I mean, it kind of connects to the promo they did last week, and like, Penta could reveal on next week's show in the tag match that, like, if he sprays Pac in the face and reveals it was me, Austin, it was me all along. I would be surprised.
Yes.
Like, I would genuinely pull like a face if it was the case. I am leaning more towards, and only because of that Fightful Select report.
Yes.
that it's, creative has already been decided. Or like creative pitches were made. Some even say the creative has already been decided. That to me suggests that they have made a decision. Buddy is coming in. It's part of House of Black. And this is the debut vignette for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100% agree with you. And personally, I'm all for it.
So for it.
Super, super cool. I thought that Buddy did some fantastic work as Seth Rollins' disciple. Him as kind of like that silent like guy to the side, I think would fit. It adds like an extra like dynamic to the House of Black. But you got like big strong man with Brody. You got technical wizard Malakai Black, and then you've got
actual wizard,
yeah. And then you've got Buddy that adds the extra kind of like speedy dynamic to it. It just adds an extra layer to the House of Black. I think it'd be a great fit.
Also, like just having Buddy Matthews. Buddy Murphy was a guy in WWE who. He was like, I'd say one of the internet's guys. Like the we as sort of like Twitter fans or YouTube fans or whatever you want to sort of call this portion of the IWC, loved the work that he did. Loved the stuff that he did on 205 Live where he was like just having consistent bangers every single time he stepped into the ring. And then he went to the main roster and didn't get the due that he deserved really. Like I don't think he got the push that really benefited like us as fans. He was on TV. But, like, really, can you, outside of those Aleister Black matches, can you really name anything of note that Buddy Murphy did? Like, you can say that he was in the Roman Reigns storyline, but that was a massive accident.
Wasn't Buddy the one that gave Aleister the terrible eye during the I versus I feud?
Yeah, because he was doing stuff with Seth, wasn't he?
I think he was the one that initially gave Black the messed up eye.
Huh. Can chat confirm that?
Yeah, can chat confirm?
Really?
I feel like it was.
Oh, I forgot all the stuff they did with the Mysterios.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
Oh.
Ignore that stuff. But
yes, it was. Everyone's saying, well done, Pete.
Cool. Yeah, I should be on Quizlemania. No, I shouldn't. I'm bad at it. Yeah, I think that's also nice content. History. You know, the tease it fits in.
That's the thing as well. Like, Black's line of history leads me to think it is Buddy Murphy, Buddy Matthews over anyone else.
100%.
Dead excited to see Buddy Matthews in AEW. Yeah. Like a lot of those guys that got released, like him, Swerve Scott, if he ever came in, Keith Lee was another one. I was like, those are the guys you want to sign up right off the bat the second they become available. The Inspiration were another one for me that I was like, those are people you should just sign right off the bat.
Yep.
Ruby Soho. And like, yeah, if I was a Tony Khan, if I had a wrestling company, Buddy Matthews is like numero uno. Like of those top three, and in men, it was Matthews, Lee, and Swerve. Yeah. And I think that Buddy Matthews is an easy home run.
Absolutely. 100%. I think he would fit so well in AEW. And especially if he's joining House of Black, I think that really suits his strengths of wrestling. Because that's what he's best at. And he puts on bangers every time. Just have him do that.
Yeah, and actually, further to your point as well, he was excellent in that disciple role with Rollins.
I thought he was. I thought he was really, really good. Had a good presence about him. Yeah.
Should have been involved in that Roman Reigns storyline more. Should have been him.
Bloody fantastic, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, the happiest of accidents. WWE accidentally stumbled on something that was really great. Like, because they didn't have an answer for that storyline. They started it without a finish. And then fans came up with a really good finish to it using our detective skills. And WWE looked at it and was like, nah.
Maybe not that.
Yeah, maybe not that. It was Eric Rowan's twin brother.
Jesus Christ. And then it was... You had that Roman Buddy match on SmackDown, and it was really good.
Great.
They gave it loads of time, and we're just like, oh, you want wrestling? Here you go. Here's some actual wrestling. We went, oh, yeah, that's what we want.
Buddy Danielson, man.
Yeah. Oh.
Superb stuff.
Well,
let's see what...
You know, Buddy's faced Okada.
Yeah, it was New Japan Strong.
Yeah. Wild.
Dude, it's a real good match.
Dude. Yeah.
It real good. Right, let's get into your Ultra Chats on this episode. Sari says, Malakai, Brody, and Buddy versus Pac, Phoenix, and Penta Dark as soon as possible, please. I'm so beyond hyped for Buddy finally coming in. It has to be him, right? Plus, hearing the crowd go absolutely insane for both Sammy and Darby gave me chills. The Pillars. Valab, who has been a member for 10 months...
Thank you.
Said, it's Bud Matt. He's always been a follower. Plus, if I recall correctly, they're part of the same Escape from Stanford Supermax universe vignettes when they got released.
That is correct.
Brought up earlier, yeah.
Yes.
Omar Jose says Buddy Matthews is as a member of the House of Black, only to then have 6-man tags against Penta, Pac, and a returning Phoenix. I'll take 10 of those, please.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, great news on Phoenix as well, is that the injury wasn't as bad as kind of it had been initially reported as well, which I think a lot of people were stunned at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, he didn't break his arm. It's like,
How?
How did he not break his
Are
arm?
his bones made of rubber?
Oh, I know the rest of him is.
Yeah.
Cole Woodruff said, what do you guys think of these Wyndham promos? This one. Now, I'm going to stop you there.
Yep.
Because I had a few people message me on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've seen YouTube comments about this as well, being like, oh my God, have you seen all of Wyndham's promos that he's doing?
Yeah.
They're not him.
Yeah. They're fan edits.
It's a fan edit.
Yeah.
So it's a fan edit
They
channel.
are incredibly well-made fan edits.
It's legit. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, damn,
Yeah.
like this, I totally bought it.
Yeah.
Until I checked out the rest of the channel, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's a fan edit.
Yeah. Look a bit further than one video. Someone messaged us on Patreon to be like, have you guys seen these promos? This was a couple months ago. And then I looked at it and I was like, damn, this is why isn't more people talking about
interesting.
this?
It's like
went onto the channel and
got
it's
a
just
whole new mask and all this sort of stuff.
totally. Like did some really, really good stuff on it. But yeah, you go on the channel and he's been doing that for years, since Bray was in WWE and stuff.
Yeah.
He's still doing Bray Wyatt promos from back then, so still is.
Yeah,
it's not him.
So hate to break it to you, Cole, but yeah, it's not actually Wyndham promos.
Yes.
The bad one, Jambeard, said, I don't think the mist gets them to join the House of Black. It just makes them more aggressive. I don't know if I believe that, though, because I don't think it made Pac more aggressive, and it certainly didn't make Cody more aggressive. I think you can rewrite Cody's heel turn that he was doing.
Sure.
And whatever it was that he was doing with his character to be like, oh, that's connected to them. It's kind of actually a way that people used to do it with Wyatt. Like, oh, the Fiend changes you, and that's why. But really, I think that's more just fan theories as opposed to WWE storytelling or even AEW storytelling in that aspect. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it is more inconsistent than fans would like to think that it is.
Yeah, I don't think it actually has any lasting consequences. You might wear an eye patch for a bit. That's about it, really.
Yeah. And Big Red-Eyed Machine has been a Memberg for 6 months in a row. Said, I'd like to leave. Or with a knock on the door, let him in. Would love to see either. I don't think Wyatt or Wyndham would be going into AEW. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this. To be part of just, the third member of a faction. I wasn't downplay Buddy Matthews' position on the card going into this. But I feel like even as a promoter, if I'm bringing in Wyndham, this isn't how I would have done it.
No, absolutely not. This is he's a big deal.
He is a big deal.
Shouldn't be just treated as it's another member of the thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Please do get in the rest of your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. And hey, when you're clicking dem links, why not click our other link? Because this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. We here at WrestleTalk fully believe in better you, a better us, a better everyone. But it starts with a better you. Support WrestleTalk, support each other, support yourself. Taking care of your mental health is something that's very, very important to us here at WrestleTalk. And the people at BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, are here to help you with that sort of thing. I have often thought about speaking with a counselor, with a therapist or anything like that to go through some of my issues that I've had since becoming a father and this and the other. And I've never really known who to reach out to or even where to start. And one of the great things about BetterHelp is that they kind of do the legwork for you. They will assign you a therapist within 48 hours. And that to me seems like a really good... Also, I don't always have time to go to a place and meet someone. I do have times for text messages. I've got time for calls. I've got time for video calls. And that's what BetterHelp can do for you. You've got a variety of different options in there. It isn't, I've got to make this clear, it's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online. Really great service. BetterHelp. Please do click the link in the video description down below and use our promo code WRESTLE and get 10% off your first month.
Thanks, BetterHelp.
Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of the show, BetterHelp. I'm actually I've just realised that producer Rich took the graphic off screen.
Yes.
So I'm going to quickly go and put that back up.
Yes.
Can you start us off on the episode?
I shall. This episode opened up with CM Punk sitting in the ring, as he is one to do when he does some promos sometimes. Sat there with a box in front of him, and he started cutting a promo. I was like, this seems familiar. Why do I know this promo? You don't all know by now, my name is CM Punk, and I'm straight edge. That means I'm drug-free, I'm alcohol-free, and that means I'm better than you. And I was like, he's doing a thing, but I don't know what that thing is. And then he said those words a decade ago, and I was like, there it is. That's why I know the promo. Yeah, I think that was his first promo in ECW, like WWE CW. I think that's the first promo we cut, which is cool throwback.
And it's not the promos he used to do when he was in Ring of Honor as well. Like
totally.
his whole gimmick in Ring of Honor was just like, I'm straight edge, which means I'm better than you. Like his whole feud with Raven was built around the fact that I am straight edge, and look at you, the state of you for not being straight edge.
Yeah, totally. But the reason he brought this up was saying that those are words that have influenced a generation of wrestlers. There are some people that have become influenced to be straight edge because of that. There are some people that have influenced to become a wrestler because of that. And then there's MJF. And he went to it and he said that he needs to pick the stipulation, saying that it's going to be at Revolution. He picks the date. Good. And he was saying, we could pick a cage match because Max has been running this whole time. But, with a cage match, he can still run. Wardlow, I know, could climb a cage. Max, he could worm his way out of it somehow. I've got another idea. And he was talking about this reference that MJF always has to being better than Piper, better than Bret Hart and all that stuff.
Piper in Portland.
And he kept saying, just throwing in a line every song, just being like, Piper in Portland. And he kept coming back to it. And the reason he brought it up was because he announced a dog collar match, which got a great reaction from the crowd, honestly. Because they've only done one dog collar match before in AEW between Cody and Brody. And that was a banger. It was a pretty great match, and I don't think a lot of people expected it to be as good as it was.
I remember when Ollie and I were reviewing the show at the time, and they announced that it was going to be a dog collar match, and because it was Cody, it was like that's such a Cody thing to do, because the dog collar matches are such an old school match stipulation that I think some of us many people have become desensitized to, because we have seen PG versions of it or just not very good versions of it, and it feels like an old school wrestling gimmick, you know what I mean?
100%.
And so I think I remember at the time being like, yeah, that's a dog collar match. It just seems a bit hokey, a bit southern 80s and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
However, when Cody and Brody Lee then had that match, you're like, oh, dang. Oh, this is great.
This is excellent.
Because like a dog collar match, it works in the 80s. Because a lot of things worked in the 80s. We're in the 21st century now. We've had Hell in a Cell matches, and WCW did a triple-decker cage match.
They sure did.
But they showed you that something that's as simple as a dog collar match can still work within today's wrestling atmosphere if you've got two guys that are committed to it and are really, really good at their craft. And, I know it's so sad that it ended up being Brody Lee's final match. But what a way to go out, right? Yeah, I hate to say it, if you do go out, what a way to go. But it was an incredible match. And I think the reason it got that reaction from the crowd is because, you're right, they remember that match. This could have been, like 5 other stipulations that wouldn't have got this reaction. But the AEW are very good at protecting steps. We've only had a handful of cage matches. I think even a cage match might have got a pop, because I think a lot of people expect it to be a cage match. No one saw the dog collar match coming. Although it was a wonderful, wonderful decision.
It was really, really good. And the whole premise being like, we're literally tied together. You cannot run away from me, which fits perfectly with the stipulation. And he said he's got one more thing he'd like to say to MJF, and he wants him to come out and say it to his face. MJF, there was a long pause. MJF came out. No showboating, no confidence, no nothing.
Selling the stipulation.
He just walked out just like, oh no.
Uh-oh, what have I got myself into?
I've messed up. And Punk shows him the photo, the very famous photo now of MJF as a fan talking to CM Punk back in the day.
At a meet and greet.
And he was saying how the mat at Revolution is not going to be coated with your spray tan. It's going to be coated with your blood. Some really money lines that Punk came out with. And MJF the whole time is just staring at him like, I hate all of this. What have I got myself into?
What a way to sell the stip by MJF that, he's the guy that talks.
Yeah.
He's always the guy that's got an answer for everything. No matter what you throw in MJF's way, he has got a way to talk himself up. And not so much talk himself out of a situation, but certainly make his bravado overcome any fears that you might have. He had nothing to say.
He was speechless.
I think that really, really does sell the gimmick.
It was so brilliant. Just his facial expressions the whole time. He brought the mic up to his mouth and his hand was shaking. He was stuttering, trying to get words out. And in the end, he just threw the mic down and walked out. I was like, oh, it's perfect.
And this was already a perfect segment, Pete.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
But you've skipped over the best part of this.
I just looked in my notes because I wrote it afterwards. I was going to talk about it, yeah. Go ahead.
You skipped over the best part.
It was the best part of the promo. You're quite right.
So when Punk had the picture of him and little MJF, he said, "The day you met me at this meet and greet was the best day of your life. But for me, it was Friday. And a Revolution, it will just be a Sunday." And I'm like, he made a Street Fighter movie reference.
Yeah!
Yes, he did. He made a Street Fighter movie reference. It's just for people like me.
It's genuinely one of the best lines I've ever heard in a movie ever.
Unironically. Yeah.
So good.
Dude, I stand by that Street Fighter movie anyway.
Oh, yeah.
In the same way that I stand by the Super Mario Brothers movie. I applaud them for the effort and the vision that they had for that movie. Did it work? Not really.
No.
But I applaud them for trying to make it happen. First ever video game movie ever made. Someone should probably write a book about this sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
I did once. Thank you to the 8 people that bought it. But a Street Fighter movie I've always had a love for, because when I was a kid and I watched it, I was like, this isn't Street Fighter. This doesn't feel like Street Fighter.
Not at all.
I convinced myself that it was good, though, because it was 1994 and I'm 9 years old. So I convinced myself that it was good because it's a Street Fighter movie. Street Fighter 2 is my favorite game. I love playing Special Champ Edition on the Mega Drive, right? So I convinced myself that it was a good movie. So I've watched it year upon year upon year upon year. And it was only until I was doing research for the book and I interviewed Steven D'Souza, the writer and director of the movie, and he kind of started to explain the process of making it, that suddenly I was like, oh, this makes a whole mess of sense now. Every single question I've had about this movie since 1994 has been answered by this one interview that I've done with the writer and director, Who'da Thunk, eh? And I was like, and now when I watch it, I have such a deep appreciation for what D'Souza was doing. Is it a home run?
No.
Not really. But lines like that are great.
It's very goofy.
It's
very fun.
So goofy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love it so much.
But yeah, and that line of like, the day that I graced your village was the greatest day of your life.
Most
but for me,
important day of your life.
It was the most important day of your life, but for me, it was Tuesday.
For me, it was Tuesday.
Has been sort of replicated by like wrestlers over the years because it's a pop culture line.
Yeah.
And we really enjoy it. I loved it.
It's absolutely wonderful line.
But what I love about it is that if you don't pick up that it's a Street Fighter reference, you're not being like, I don't know what he's on about there. He makes it work within the promo itself.
Absolutely.
And that's a brilliant way to work a reference into something, so it doesn't overshadow a promo. It just becomes part of it. So like if you know, then great. If you don't, it doesn't affect the promo in any way.
100%.
Terrific. Speaking of terrific, Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty.
This was amazing. This was my match of the night.
Yeah, same here. Samesies.
Yeah.
Absolutely samesies. I thought this match was absolutely terrific. Oddly, Melissa Joan Hart was at ringside. Just randomly, it's just like, well, we may have lost Cody Rhodes, but it's all right because Clarissa explains it all Elite Wrestling.
Nashville resident, according to her name bar.
So I was really pleased with that joke I came up with
good.
this morning. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
So Melissa Joan Hart was at ringside. Terrific.
Sure.
Dude, I just mentioned then, I was 9 years old in 1994. So do you know what show I absolutely adored when I was a kid? Sabrina the goddamn Teenage Witch. Do you know who I had a biggest crush on in my life? Melissa goddamn Joan goddamn Hart.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Checks
So
out.
terrific to see her there at ringside. To see an incredible match.
Oh, this
I know-
was so good.
I know a lot of people were really excited for this anyway because everyone really likes Lee Moriarty and obviously everyone loves Danielson. But then there's this moment in this match. Like, Danielson set this match up by being like, I want to see the violence out of Lee Moriarty. Like, I want to see the violence out of you. And Moriarty stepped on and being like, oh, I'll bring that next week. But when Moriarty was doing it, I loved how mad Danielson was getting, being like, son of a prick. This little prick slapped me.
Yeah.
And like getting more and more mad about that. And then that sort of like fueled the final act of this. But there was a moment when they did a neck bridge and then started slapping the taste out of each other's mouth. Proper like Zack Sabre Jr. style spot. I loved this match.
This was so wonderful. As a technical wrestling masterpiece, it was amazing. And also for the story they've been trying to tell, it was absolutely perfect for what they needed to do. How many times have we said, I'm hitting the table again, how many times have we said before, Luke, you need to have a younger guy like Lee Moriarty. You can make someone look good in defeat. You have them have a really good match and they do better than anyone expected. They still lose, but they look better in defeat. This is what I'm talking about. This is what you need to do, because this was so good. All of it, Danielson's whole thing is that he will out-wrestle you. He can out-wrestle anyone. He's the best wrestler in the world. So when Lee Moriarty starts matching Danielson for technical wrestling ability, everyone goes, oh, that guy's really good. And he's moreover. It's so easy.
And like in that as well, when Danielson got the label lock in, this crowd went mental for it because they wanted to see Moriarty get the ropes and escape the hold and for this match to continue. This is awesome chance. Moriarty got the Motor City stretch in, but Daniel reversed that, basically picked him up and hit this capture suplex on it, hit the Psycho knee, did his little face stomps things and locked in a submission for the win. It was beautifully executed.
Love that he did the knee and then was like, no, I'm not going to pin. I'm going to stomp him in the face.
Love that touch that he's got.
Violence.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted, and he's going to stomp him in the face. And I think he was already knocked out, but then he just locked in a triangle, and then it was just like, he's got nothing left. He's already out. Like,
I love
brilliant.
this. I just love this new form of Danielson's offense, which is like the Psycho knee is a setup move for him to stomp your teeth out.
Yeah,
like,
it's brilliant.
He used to end matches. Now it's just like,
Yeah.
On that note that you made about sort of, this making Moriarty look better, like him getting over in defeat.
Yeah.
I brought up on the Raw podcast a couple of weeks back. This is how WWE should use 2.0.
Yeah.
Like one of Raw's biggest problems that it's got at the moment is that they have the same people on the show every single week, having the same matches every single week because they've got a limited number of people they can work with. And it's one of AEW's biggest strengths is because they've got a massive roster, you don't have to feature everyone on TV every single week. Everyone feels special, everyone feels fresh, and everyone can have fresh matchups. And so the product never feels stale or repetitive or anything like that. So when you got things like, Kings of the Black Throne versus Pac and Penta next week, it is like when you saw that match but even then, it's a few weeks ago that we saw that match. It wasn't like we saw it 7 days later.
Yeah.
And I think that using 2.0 is actually a really good way for you to give your guys on the main roster wins, but also introduce your audience to 2.0 talent, which might make them also watch NXT 2.0. But moreover, it gets them experience. It gets them in the ring. They don't have to win. You can just have competitive matches. Like, how much better would have Damian Priest have looked if he'd have beaten, I don't know, who's a good NXT guys? Because I don't want to say Carmelo Hayes, because I don't want to beat any of the champions. But someone like
Grayson Waller,
a great example. Grayson Waller. Who's the university lad? Chase.
Andre Chase.
Someone like that. He can beat them in 4 minutes and, give them a bit of offense, give them a hope spot or whatever it is, and he raises the title at the end. Like, Chase loses nothing in this, but Priest gains something in this. And actually, Chase can get something in that because he gains experience in that. And that's what I think AEW do really, really well, is they've got this group of guys that are like, we're the next phase of AEW. Once all the top stars are gone, we're the next set of top stars.
Yeah.
But we're on TV, and we're getting experience, and we're getting our audience ready for us to be on top.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Jurassic Express also cut a promo before this, announcing that there's going to be 2 tag team battle royals.
You might have missed off the promo at the end with little old John Moxley.
Yeah.
At the end of that match.
Do you know what? Yeah. All right, Pete. All right, Pete. It's only your second time here, but we'll do that bit.
All right. Rewinding a little bit after the match.
Yeah, you're right. We should have done this bit first.
Yep. Danielson does a promo saying that he wants an answer from John Moxley. He offered him a couple of weeks ago to join forces and teach the next crop of talent. And he wants an answer right now. Moxley comes out and does indeed do an answer. Sort of. He doesn't give him a yes or a no. He said, well, I'm going to leave it up to you. He says he's never beaten Bryan Danielson. So when he found out that Danielson was coming into AEW, he could finally get that win that he's never got against him. This is going back to WWE. This is going back to pre-WWE. This is going back to the Indies way back when. And he said, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but I'm never going to stand alongside someone until I've bled with them in the ring. So Moxley versus Danielson at Revolution. And then they team up afterwards? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're heading for, right? Is Moxley and Danielson beat the absolute snot out of each other.
Yeah.
Beat each other bloody at Revolution. At the end of it, Moxley's like, well, now I can trust you. Because, like, Moxley's argument is that, like, are you just trying to duck me?
Yeah.
You want to team with me because you don't want to fight me. And I'm not sure I can be on the same side as someone with that aspect. So I did like Moxley being like, I can't think of a single reason to say no to this argument.
Yeah.
I believe, I was listening to Going In Raw about this, and I believe that Moxley has beaten Danielson in the past.
Oh, has he?
I think Ambrose has got a win over Daniel Bryan in WWE.
I mean, they beat the Shield beat.
No, I
Daniel
believe
Bryan
in a singles match.
Even in singles, right?
Yeah, I think there was like some screwy finish or something, but I believe that there is like a victory. But if they don't remember it, then I don't know why we're supposed to remember either. But I thought this was a great promo from Mox. I thought Danielson was awesome. I love the fact that Danielson wanted a yes or no answer, and Moxley essentially gave him the ball's in your court now.
Yeah,
it's counter offer, counter offer sort of thing. I love this, and I think they're going to have a wicked match at Revolution. What a card, Revolution!
I was just about to say, can we just talk about how flipping amazing? I almost swore, but I didn't. You're welcome, editor Vinny, editing the podcast. Didn't swear. How good Revolution is shaping up to be.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, just here's what we got basically off the top of our heads, which is it's Hangman Cole already. Great.
Yeah.
Rosa Baker.
Yeah.
Yes. Smegging, please.
Yeah.
I'm in for that. Moxley Danielson.
Yes.
Punk MJF in a dog collar match. And then we got this triple threat tag team match that Jurassic Express cut this promo saying there's going to be 2 battle royals, one next week, one the following week. The winners of those battle royals are going to go into this triple threat thing. And yeah, it's probably going to be the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, which means it's the Young Bucks versus Red Dragon versus Jurassic Express for the tag team titles.
Can you imagine?
Like, yes, please.
Yeah.
I'll have some of that.
Yeah. And there's also the Face of the Revolution ladder match with Keith Lee and Wardlow in it.
God, I actually forgot about that. You're absolutely right. Like,
what a bloody card!
And that's not even a full card yet.
No.
You know, like AEW, they'll stack another 10 matches onto this card
of course,
before the night is out. Maybe even a second women's match.
Steady on. Jesus. Do you reckon Cargill would defend her belt?
I'd love to see. I mean, yeah.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. And also, I figure as well, I mean, maybe we could save this for the main events. I'd said this, I think, last week or a couple of weeks ago. Maybe not now because they've got another triple threat on the card. But for the TNT title, Andrade, Sammy, and Darby. You can even make it a fatal 4-way and put Matt in there.
Sure. Yeah. I personally would prefer to just see Andrade versus Sammy. I think now that Alan lost, spoilers for the main event.
I suppose he has beaten Alan, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it does make more sense for it just to be the singles.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Alan has like a grudge against Andrade and Matt Hardy, but the actual match is Andrade versus Sammy.
And he doesn't have to be on the card.
No.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Actually, now that he's got that loss, I think that makes more sense. But yeah, what an incredibly stacked card Revolution is looking up to be.
Shaping up to be. Goodness me.
We then got Wardlow versus Max Castor in a Face of the Revolution qualifying match. You'll never guess who won this. I can't believe Max Castor's going into the face. No, of course Wardlow won. What I love about these Wardlow matches is we're seeing progression in them. So, okay, you cut back to a month ago, a few weeks ago. Wardlow squash matches were Wardlow squash matches. He would go in there, hit the powerbomb symphony, and put this foot on the ropes there, and he would get the pin, right? Like that was the Wardlow squash match. But now he's facing guys that are already established on the roster. So last week against the Blade, this week's against Max Castor. And that means they get a bit more offense in on him. So he is still an unstoppable monster, but he is people who are higher up the card, people who have got a bit more experience in AEW, get more offense in on him. So the matches have got progression, which makes me excited to have him for him to be in a ladder match with a bunch of other guys that are either on his level or slightly below or slightly above. And I cannot wait for that stare down between him and Keith Lee, because that's the moment, right?
Yeah.
Clear the ring.
Yep, you got to.
And then those two guys just go nose to nose.
Yeah. And whoever else is in the match comes in, they both get him up into a powerbomb, and they both do synchronized powerbombs together. You got to do it. You got to do it, AEW. Come on.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Absolutely.
Also, just before this match as well, we had a Keith Lee promo. All in for that.
Keith Lee's
More
the best.
Keith Lee, please.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I think other thing to touch on with this is that Max Castor cut his promo beforehand, and he did not reference Cody.
No.
Castor has been known to be the guy to be like, here's the controversial thing that's happened in the world of wrestling.
Sure.
no!
Yeah.
You'd have thought Max Castor would do something, like he would make a reference to it.
Yeah.
Or we'd get a Dan Lambert promo.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, am I glad that feud is behind us now.
That's gone, yeah.
But like a Dan Lambert promo talking about how Cody isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Cody was removed from the intro.
Yep.
He wasn't completely removed from their history, though, which I really like.
No, of course not.
Because they talked about the dog collar match, and they were like, we've only had one in the past, and that was by Cody and Brody Lee. So they did reference him a couple of times on this show. But the fact that Max Castor didn't bring him up, and the fact that Dan Lambert hasn't cut a promo on this show when the news is still at this peak, I think tells us that AEW are just, he is part of their history, but we are moving on.
Yep. And I think that makes sense, because I think I saw a report. This is going to be very vague. Don't quote me on this. I can't remember the source, and I'm sorry for that. But I think I saw a report saying that Tony Khan and Cody had agreed to keep the vast majority of it private. So don't expect him to just kind of, everyone goes on a podcast after they leave a company and talk about their experience in the past company and all that stuff. They're basically saying, don't expect that from Cody, because him and TK have just said, like, what's done is done.
It's an amicable split.
Yes.
Like, I heard that there was like some frustrations and things like that.
Totally, yeah. But they've agreed to pretty much, they've done their statements about their time in the company, and that's that.
Classy stuff.
Yes.
Britt Baker cut a promo with Mercedes Martinez ahead of her match with Thunder Rosa, and then the lad from the Karate Kid walks in.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Melissa Joan Hart being at ringside, you said that she's a local resident, so I guess that, like, is this guy a local resident too? It was like all of a sudden the lad from the Karate Kid is here.
Yep.
Like, Cobra Kai, I believe, is a very popular show. I've not actually seen it.
From what I've heard.
But from what I've heard, it is a very, very good show.
My dad likes it, so take that for what it's worth, yeah.
But yeah, the lad from the Karate Kid's around.
Yep.
And he almost factored into the match later.
He got to say the words, "No mercy."
Yeah.
Because that's the reference to the thing, you see.
On the N64.
Yeah.
Adam Page, the hanger, came out for a promo, and Cole interrupts him immediately. Adam Cole comes out here, talk about their history in Ring of Honor. They talk about their time in Bullet Club, talk about their friendship, and Adam Cole being like, you talk about my friends, like the Young Bucks and this and the other, but like, the Young Bucks haven't said your name in months. I haven't had them say it since I got here. And hey, where's the Dark Order? You haven't been seen with them for a long time, which I'm glad that they referenced as well, because they haven't really been around. They haven't been since the Danielson feud started. And Cole was here to kind of lead us into a false sense of security, which is that he was putting over Page and saying, like, I can't wait to have this match because you've had some wars with Danielson, with Omega to win the belt, and that last week's match with Lance Archer. So good friendly competition. I'm glad that it's you. Shake of the hands. And then who should blindside Hangman Page? And I'd actually thought during the promo, we haven't seen Red Dragon for a while, have we? And I know it's because Kyle's on paternity leave.
Yeah.
But even then I was like, I haven't seen Red Dragon for a while. I wonder when Kyle is coming back. And would you Adam and Eve it? They bloody did here. They came in and they started battering Hangman Page. And Cole's promo was so convincing that I thought he was going to run back and stop them from beating him up.
Yep, so did I.
And then he just joined in the beating up as well. I was like, you dick, Cole.
Yep.
I believed you.
Yep. This is why Adam Cole is one of my favorite wrestlers going. Because every word he says in every promo, I 100% believe it. He's so convincing with everything he says. Whether he's being a cocky, arrogant heel or he's trying to be a bit more babyface-ish, everything that he says, I believe him. Which is why he's such a good character to be a manipulator. Because you believe that he could manipulate people. He's so good. And him just saying, no, I've got nothing but love and respect for you, Hangman. I'm so glad that you're the champion, and I'm so glad that we're going to have because when we have our match, no shenanigans, one-on-one, it's just going to be me and you for the belt, like it always is. I am going to win. I am the better Adam. You will always be known as the other Adam. And he kind of like has some digs at him, but it was never like, I'm the out-and-out heel, yuck. It was none of that. He was just like, put it there, we're going to have a great match, and then, joined in on the heel beatdown because he's the worst.
It was such a good promo.
Him.
Can you imagine being that person on Twitter being like, AEW have really misused Adam Cole? Can you imagine being that person?
In the nicest possible way. Piss off.
We actually got another backstage segment with these lads as well, because like...
Oh, I think I love this more than the promo. Oh my God, this is good.
This segment had so much to it. So, it had Adam Cole standing in the middle. You had the Young Bucks on one side of him. You had Red Dragon on the other side of him. And Cole's there being like, ha, 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 look how great this is. My plan is coming together beautifully. Because not only am I going to beat Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship, Switchblade Jay White is going to beat up Trent Beretta on Rampage. I'm going to be facing Dark Order's 10. This is going to be great. We're standing tall. Ha, ha, ha. And then the Young Bucks have just been like, and we'll win one of the Battle Royals. And then Red Dragon will be like, and we'll win the other one. So where have you been? And Kyle's like, I've actually just been picking up my Father of the Year trophy. And Matt Jackson's response to this was, I've got 2 kids. And Nick Jackson's response was, I've got 3 kids. And Cole's like, guys, all of your children are beautiful.
I love that. You've all got beautiful children. I love that.
But I actually, so I'll speak about the little bit that came down to this, which was such a good ending.
Yep.
When Adam Cole was talking about him facing off against Hangman Page for the title and how he's going to beat him for the title, the faces on the Young Bucks was a real look of, I don't know if I want you to win. Because the Young Bucks were integral to Adam Page winning the belt.
Yep.
He forgave them. And in turn, they also forgave him.
Yep.
So they are now in conflicted positions where they're like, well, we're loyal to Adam Cole, but are we friends with Hangman again? We don't really know where we stand on this.
And right at the start, you heard Red Dragon say, where were you guys in that beatdown of Hangman? Why weren't you there? And they said, oh, well, you know, beating up Hangman, it's like beating a dead horse at this point. But it's because they like him.
Yeah,
like,
right?
Oh, man, it's just so good.
And then at the end of this, the Young Bucks say we're going to win. Red Dragon say they're going to win. And they walk off in separate directions. And Cole is left standing in the middle. He looks to one side and he looks to the other and he doesn't know which way he's going to go. And then Brandon Cutler, like the big knob that he is, goes, which way are you going to go, Adam?
Shut up, Brandon! Turn off the camera!
Shut up, Brandon! Oh, my word. And this is something I hadn't actually considered. Because I think a lot of us have been talking about, what this means for the breakup of this fractioning within the elite.
Yep.
Of Cole going with Red Dragon, Undisputed Era and all this sort of stuff. What does that mean for the Young Bucks? Well, when Kenny Omega comes back, you can then do Kenny and the Young Bucks versus Adam Cole and Red Dragon.
Yeah.
What if it's Hangman? And it's the Young Bucks and Hangman against Cole and Red Dragon.
So here's some fantasy booking for you.
Real quick.
At Revolution, it's Adam v Adam. And
what is this? What culture?
Funny.
Thanks, mate.
Earlier in the night, I reckon that it's going to be Jurassic Express, Young Bucks, Red Dragon in the triple threat. And I think that the Young Bucks and Red Dragon are going to cost each other.
Yeah, cancel each other out of the match, basically.
And Jurassic Express are going to be able to retain. So I think that when it comes to the main event, Red Dragon are going to interfere on Adam Cole's behalf, and the Young Bucks are going to beat up Red Dragon, and they're going to cost Adam Cole. They're going to, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, they will cost Adam Cole the match against Hangman.
Knowing the way that AEW have done that in the past, it will look as ambiguous as possible.
Yes.
I'm thinking, when at Crown Jewel, when Heyman threw the title in, but it was like directly between
I haven't watched it. But
Reigns and Lesnar.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like the perfect slide in of the belt because I don't know who he slid that to.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, in fact. Speaking of really good, Chris Jericho and Jake Hager took on Santana and Ortiz with the return of WrestleTalk Podcast's best mate, Eddie Smegging Kingston.
I love him.
I love him so much.
He's great.
His music hit, and this crowd went ballistic for the return of Kingston. He looked amazing as he was walking down to the ring, this biggest smile on his face, in the corner of Santana and Ortiz. Oh my God, I loved it. And then I have dogged on Jericho a lot on this podcast because I don't think he is as good as he once was.
Yes.
We had an Ultra Chat in. I'm so sorry that I forget whoever sent this in, and I don't credit you for this because I think it's the perfect way to describe him. When Jericho was in All Elite Wrestling, when it first started, he was the big fish in the small pond.
Yep.
That pond has now outgrown him, and he is the same size, but the pond is massive. And so Jericho always feels like oddly placed within All Elite Wrestling, right? And I don't know if he is aware of this or like how he feels about this sort of things. I don't think he'll ever be in the main events ever again.
Nor should he.
He went out of his way in this match to make Santana and Ortiz look incredible. Jericho took the pin in this match. That Does not happen often.
No.
And I thought, well, that's what Swagger's there for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jake Hager is there so he can take the pin because, yeah, he's undefeated in MMA, but also no one gives a crap about Jake Hager. Now, it was Jericho that took the pin. He did get to kick out a street sweeper, which is, I think that's a good way to protect Jericho. And in the end, he distracted himself by beating up, like, attacking Eddie Kingston on the apron. And then he goes to do the Judas effect. Santana ducks, and Ortiz hits him. Turns around, hit with the discus clothesline, and Santana pins him. That was awesome.
Such a good match.
Yeah.
The thing is, I was enjoying it, and I was like, yeah, this is a good match. Quite enjoying this. This is nice. Got to a point where he had the Walls of Jericho in, or the Lion Tamer. Had that in.
That spot, by the way, just to set that up. So Santana goes down onto all fours to do, like, Hardy Boys, like, poetry motion style things. Ortiz does the step off and cannonballs. Jericho grabs him in the cannonballs and then drops him into the Lion Tamer.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
Really, really good spot. And when it got to that spot, and it was him reaching out for the ropes, facing Eddie Kingston, and Kingston was screaming at him to not give up and get to the ropes. Eddie Kingston is so good at portraying emotion and making you feel something when you're watching it that I then cared more about this because Kingston was showing that level of emotion, and he's like, no, you can do it, you can reach the ropes, do not give up, come on, you're so close. And he eventually, like, just made it to the ropes, and it was Kingston screaming at him that distracted Jericho, which is what made him attack him on the apron, which then cost Jericho the match. Lovely stuff. But yeah, that spot was so good. It genuinely made me feel, and that's the point of wrestling. It's the point of art,
that's why
right?
we like it, right?
Yeah. And it was so good. Yeah, I love Santana's intensity in this match. So good. Like, sold the story really, really well. Then be like, no, piss off, Jericho. Like, I've had enough of your S. Yeah. I'm gonna beat you up, and it sold it really, really good.
But this is great. Jericho and Eddie brawled after the match as well, which is that's another match for Revolution right there. It's Jericho versus Kingston. To add to our already stacked card.
Yes,
like, it's,
please.
it may be a shame that Santana and Ortiz don't get to be on the card. Like, they're just in Eddie's corner. But, dude, I think that Santana and Ortiz are your next AEW Tag Team Champions.
I would love that. I was going to say maybe they win one of the Battle Royals. I don't know if I'd want that yet.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, okay, finish your point and I'll bring it
Yeah,
on.
because I'd like them to see win a Battle Royal and maybe win the tag titles. I wouldn't want them to win a Battle Royal if they're not going to win the belts.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want them to win the Battle Royal if it would derail other possible stories that they've got.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I was good. Like, there's every chance we are thinking it's going to be Red Dragon, Young Bucks, and Jurassic Express. That seems like the most likely route. But there is every chance that those two cancel each other out in the Battle Royals.
100%, right?
And then it's just Young Bucks versus
you can
Red
have Bucks
Dragon
versus Red Dragon as another match on the card.
As just a match on the card.
Oh my God.
And two other tag teams, say, like a Proud and Powerful, win one of the Battle Royals, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Like Kings of the Black Throne, or whatever you need, sort of like do that as your triple threat tag team match. Like, it might be just a really nice red herring for us. But I think it probably is going to be the Bucks and Red Dragon, but we'll certainly see. But I do think that, Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz are going to be the people to dethrone Jurassic Express and win those tag belts.
I hope so.
Speaking of amazing matches, crikey, this card, when you look up and down this show, is just
so
stacked
good.
from top to bottom. Mercedes Martinez versus Thunder Rosa. Now, like, Moriarty versus Danielson was my match of the night, but this was my most anticipated match going in because I absolutely adore Thunder Rosa. Yeah. And I love Mercedes Martinez, and I wasn't the highest on their DQ finish that they did on TV, on Rampage, but it did make me want to see the follow-up match, and I was really glad that it was on Dynamite, so that, I think that's a win. Also, I watched Thunder Rosa's match with Athena, the former Ember Moon. Oh, man, it's good. Oh, dude, it's good.
That was in Chicago, right?
I actually can't remember where it was, but it was Warrior Wrestling.
Tempest was there.
Was he really?
Yeah, Tempest was in attendance for
Was
that
he
show.
really?
Yeah, because he went to Chicago for Valentine's Day, so we could see his lady partner.
Huh.
And they went and watched Warrior Wrestling.
Did
and I was
they
like,
really?
huh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Great match. Though.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Dude, it was... I've only watched on the catch-up, and I bought the pay-per-view and then just skipped to the end so I could watch that match. There's actually a lot of stuff on that show I really want to watch, but really what I wanted to watch was Rosa and Athena, and hot dang, it was good. Like, it was the perfect match for your first match out of being released from WWE to show everyone this is what they missed.
Yeah, totally.
And, oh, man, it was so great. And this match, speaking of people that have left WWE and looking to make a statement, just that. I thought Mercedes was great in this match. I thought Rosa was awesome in this match. They had a bit of trouble with the table at the start of this, where the table sort of had already collapsed, but they made it work. I thought it was some really good improvisation on the fly.
Yeah.
And the Fisherman's buster through that table was brutal. I loved Rosa whipping Martinez into the barricade, and the barricade just went with them, and it just fell backwards, and Martinez just went, whoa, and just sort of went with it. It was really, really cool. And I also loved Mercedes Martinez's spider German suplex that she did out of the corner. That was
Thunder Rosa folded in half from that.
Oh man, it was so great. I thought Rosa's outfit was great, like her Game of Death, Kill Bill outfit, and they just kicked the crap out of each other. And in the end, Rosa hit the Thunder Driver on the pile of chairs for the win. She broke her ass in half doing that move. And after the match, Rosa picks Martinez up as a sign of respect, being like, I know you were brought into this company to take me out, but you really, you stood your own in that match, and I was the better woman on the day. So out comes the Doctor with Hater and with Reba. And Baker walks down to ringside. She passes Melissa Joan Hart, and she goes straight for the Karate Kid guy. And Karate Kid, again, says No Mercy was the best wrestling game on the N64. And Baker gets into the ring, and she hands Martinez the pipe to beat up Rosa some more. But Martinez's pauses for just that fraction too long for Baker's liking. So they all beat up Mercedes Martinez. Jamie Hayter pounced on her.
What I was going to say, actually, I don't think it was Baker's call to beat up Martinez.
Oh, you think it was just a Hayter thing?
It was Hayter and I think Baker was like, that makes sense. She hesitated too long. She wasn't going to beat her up, so she went with it. But it was Hayter that took the initiative.
Oh, that's good. I hadn't figured that, but I think you might be onto something.
Yeah,
there.
Because Martinez took the pipe, and she was kind of looking like, I don't really want to do this. And then Hayter just pounced, just smashed her in the back of the head, and they just beat them both up from that. And I said, are they going to have Martinez side with Rosa? And I was like, oh damn, they did. And I was like, it's great. Really, really good. Hayter attacks Martinez. Hayter Martinez is a match I really want to see. That sounds like a bunch of fun. And I'm curious to see whether it's going to be like a not necessarily a tag team, but like a partnership between Rosa and Martinez. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that's a Rampage match right there, which is like Rosa and Martinez versus Hayter and Reba to set up the Baker match for Revolution.
Sure, yeah.
Or, it's just part of that Baker match leading into. I think that's a really, really fun tag match.
Absolutely.
Which, is kind of what Tempest was talking about with his factions video that he was doing. Is 100%. That like when you have women in factions, and you have factions with multiple members, there are lots of different matches you can do around that further the story because people are connected to it. Yeah. It's a very, very good video by our Tempo T Yu-Gi-Oh!
Check it out on partsFUNknown.
It's over on partsFUNknown. Some people in the chat were very upset that we weren't calling the Karate Kid man by his name, so I'm going to make it a point to not call him by his name now. The Karate Kid lad. I hope that they bring in the other Karate Kid lad, the actual main Karate Kid, to he can be the backup for Rosa and Martinez.
That'd be funny.
Against the baddie. Yeah. From Karate
Well,
Kid.
Technically, if they were going to do that way, then they'd have to bring in Mr. Miyagi, which...
Well, that's Well, no, that's what I mean. You can bring in the other one, the younger lad.
Yeah. That young guy from that movie.
From that movie, if you will. I mean, I am I'm a unique snowflake in this scenario. I'm a man in my mid to late 30s. I think I like the Karate Kid, but I was never I think the Karate Kid is a great movie. Really good. Is. But I don't have the childhood nostalgia for it.
Right.
Because I'd rent it, but I never owned it on video. So I don't have the same nostalgic childhood love I do for the Karate Kid the same way I do for The Goonies or Indiana Jones or anything like this, Spielberg stuff. But my cousin, our Chris, Karate Kid was his film. He friggin' loves Karate Kid, and his son now loves the Karate Kid, and they both love Cobra Kai and this, that, and the other. Awesome. It is really, really rad. But yeah, Karate Kid, an amazing movie. And then our main event, we also got Jay White cutting a promo, just promoting his match with Trent on Rampage. Dead looking forward to that.
Breathe with the Switchblade. Good fun.
And then our main event was Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. And yeah, I'm just going to echo what that Ultrachat said earlier. You talk about two of the four pillars of this company. You talk about a future main event for that AEW World Championship. These two just, every time they step into the ring with each other, it's just awesome. It's just really great.
Dude, when we got to this main event, I'd forgotten that this was on the card. And I was like, wait, what's the main event of the show
Yeah.
again? And then they came out because the show was already so stacked. I was like, what do they possibly have lined up to be the main event of the show that could top what they've already had in the show? And I was like, oh yeah, of course, a brilliant match.
Yeah.
Of course, how could I forget? The dueling chants at the start of this match. Let's go Darby, let's go Sammy. I was like, that is exactly what you want. For a babyface versus babyface match, for two of your four pillars of the company, for the crowd to be so equally split between both of these guys. Oh, it's just, isn't it wonderful when things go to plan?
And then they have this incredible match because, of course, they do. They're so smooth with each other. And then there's this moment when Darby does a tope to the outside, and Sammy catches him with a cutter to the floor. Like,
so perfectly timed.
Incredible scenes.
And like, Alan does not do his dive slowly. There's a bullet dive, straight out, and he just caught him, bang, straight into a car. Oh, wonderful.
And then the finish of this match saw Jose, the assistant, get into a bit of a scuffle with Sting. That distracted the referee. And then Andrade El Idolo broke a tablet over Darby Allin's face, who sold it brilliantly, by the way. Like, he just sort of collapsed, like folded over while he was up on the top turnbuckle, or the middle turnbuckle, or whatever. And then Sammy uses that to hit the GTH on him for the win. Matt Hardy runs down afterwards and starts brawling with Darby, like beating him up because they can't sign him. And Sammy makes the save. Sammy starts attacking Matt Hardy to grab him. And then Andrade cracks him with the tablet, grabs both belts, and poses with them. I think you are absolutely bang on the banana that it's just the singles match. I'd worked myself into the shoot that it was going to be a triple threat. I think it makes more sense now that you said it to be the singles match. Andrade versus Sammy. I am here for.
Yeah, 100%. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of like Darby Allin, Sting, Matt Hardy, Andrade Hardy family office feud. Not necessarily on Revolution, but like on subsequent Dynamites and things to keep that plate spinning. But I think the actual Andrade feud is now going to be with Sammy.
Yeah, I think that it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because that's what he said. Like, that's his way to get to Darby, is by winning that TNT Championship.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is really good. I do question why Sammy still has both belts.
I wrote exactly that. I was like, do we should just have one belt now?
Like, it would have made sense if when Cody won the belt, he went back to the red strap.
Yeah.
And so because everyone's had their version of the TNT title, right?
Yeah.
So if Cody had brought back the classic red and silver TNT title, and that's what he's holding, the original, like Cody's version of it, but they're both the same belt.
Yeah. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
I just think you may as well just have one of them now. Because he's not like announced as like the undisputed.
No.
He's just he's the TNT champion.
Yep.
I think it's cumbersome to have both belts. It's extra weight for Sammy to carry through airports.
It also looks a bit stupid when he's got them both round his
Because they
waist.
look the same. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, I agree with that. Overall, though, what a show, man!
What a show!
What a run! Like Dynamite is on at the moment.
And like they didn't have anything like super out there. They didn't have, a world title match. They didn't have shock debut. They didn't have any of that stuff. This was just a really good show.
Yeah.
They just packed it with their talent and put on some bloody good matches.
And that's, some of AEW's detractors will say that AEW can only do good shows when they do the surprises or returns or this, that, and the other. And I think this is the sort of show that proves that, dude, they can just put on banging shows with just the roster that they have.
Yeah.
And, man, I think it's a roster that's flourishing. I think it's a pay-per-view that is going to be awesome on paper. This company has got an incredible talent for making banging pay-per-view cards that are always different from the previous pay-per-view card. It's absolutely wonderful to see.
It's amazing.
I haven't got the poll loaded into the back end, but I can tell you the results for it. What would you have scored this, by the way?
5 out of 5, easy.
Easily so. And it's in agreement with you. Once again, 55% said this was a 5 out of 5 show. 32% said this was a 4 out of 5 show with 8% saying it was a 3 out of 5 show.
I can understand if people weren't super keen on like the finish of the show being a distraction finish.
Yeah.
I understand.
Or, like a brawl, like brawls ending both things. Because you had a brawl in the Hangman segment, you had a brawl at the end of this, you had a brawl at the end of Rosa Martinez. I'd get that.
I understand, but personally for me, that doesn't detract from it too much because bloody good wrestling, innit?
Bloody great wrestling. I thought it was a terrific show. And you know what else is terrific, Pete?
What's that?
Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Patreon.com/WrestleTalk is the place to be for incredible bonus wrestling content. Yesterday, we posted up the Team Danuke mailbag show where we answer your mailbag questions, in which Denise talks about Well, I was about to say she talked about feet. She doesn't quite talk about feet, but the topic of her feet did come up at one point.
Oh, no.
Well, she's got new slippers, so we talked about slippers. We also talked about what you wouldn't do for £1 million. And me and Denise got into a heated argument over whether we'd eat a plate of poo for £1 million.
Just so I know, which side of the argument were you on?
It's £1 million.
Exactly.
Pete.
Thank you, Luke.
It's £1 million.
It's £1 million.
And Denise was like, "Oh, I want to spoil in the comments." She's like, "Oh, yeah, that's so well. Think about your medical bills." I was like, "I don't have to pay medical bills, Denise." I got that sweet ass NHS and £1 million in my back pocket. In fact, I'm going to get that £1 million and fund the NHS because our government certainly isn't. Mic drop.
Anyway, there's also Fan Quizlemania tonight. Tonight. With, you know, Quizlemania, that show that you really like, you can play. You watching, you can play in it. If you go to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, that's tonight with Andy and Ollie. They're both going to be running the show tonight. And also we've got WrestleTalk Extra of No Way Out 2009 tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. GMT, which means if you're in America, you basically get it at midnight.
Yeah, depending if you're in Mountain Time Zone or Pacific.
Get it very early in the morning. But yeah, Myra and Ollie's review of No Way Out 2009. That is the one where Edge loses and wins a title on the same night in 2 different chamber matches. A lot of fun to dive into that. And if you're a part of our $25 and above pay grade, then you get a shout out and a special wrestling name like these fine folks: the Overstepper, James Nepper.
I mean, no, we're not
clapping. I nearly went to.
I was going to clap, and then I was like,
go.
wait, we have the music, right? Yeah. Probably better than Kyle, Philip O'Reilly.
It's a big claim.
It is a big claim.
A Baker's Dozen, 9 of 13.
All-Star, Chuck Turner.
Andy Datson's Fetish, Timothy King.
I did not come up with
Speaking
that name.
of Denise's feet. I did that just to throw you off.
Yep. The Venerable Jesse Venable.
The Real Boss, Matt Robinson.
Chris Hellfire Brimstone.
Pick Him Up, Loot Sponge.
Infinite Crisis, Chris Jenkins.
The Incredible Tarzo.
And finally, for this Hall of Fame class of the Thursday, 17th of February 2022 episode of AEW Dynamite, Patreon, Pledgehammers, Patreon, The Pim Particle, Terry Hankamer.
Nailed it. Thank you all so much for being our Patreon Pledgehammers. We bloody love you. Let's get into your Ultrachats, or Omegachats, as I believe
It's
they are.
Omegachats for AEW, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Though he's not been around for a while.
Scent of a Wookiee says, "I'm an absolute marvel at MJF's character work. He looked like he dropped one of his kayfabe layers in sheer terror, and I loved it." Side note, is Ortiz a black metal fan? 2 of his latest face paints have strongly resembled Demonaz and Abath of Immortal. I always thought it was a Baseball Furies thing, personally. I could be massively wrong on that, but that was kind of my read on it.
Who knows?
Jay Hauler, much like there was Bison dollars, we need MJF dollars as soon as possible.
Bisonopolis.
I mean, really, we need Punk dollars. He was the one that said the line. Charles Berg, as the resident dog guy here, I am into a dog collar match stip. MJF can even learn some fun new tricks, like heal or play dead. Jokes aside, I am looking forward to it. Very fun show all around. Jericho also looked a lot leaner.
He did.
Rosa versus Martinez was dope. They were putting that over on commentary. That like Jericho was looking in real good shape.
And he was. Fair play to him.
Stephen Guzman, the best thing about Kingston feuds is he is an amazing babyface, but such a flawed one. In this feud, CM Punk and Mox, they all had things to counter him with. I hope Jericho brings up Eddie trying to make Penta and Ray feud as a way to show Eddie's hypocrisy. I love Eddie and I'm pulling for him against Jericho, but what makes him so interesting at times is that he can be delusional.
I love it. Love that analysis.
That's real good. I'll hot tag over.
Absolutely. Plan R said, Danielson hit a Regal Plex last night. William Regal to AEW confirmed. What kind of champion doesn't have their championship on them at all times? So... here's the thing.
Oh, Peter Quinnell.
I forgot that I was presenting the news this morning.
Oh,
so I left it in the office.
Pete.
I mentioned this on the news episode,
Luke. Pete.
So I left it in the office.
Oh, the shoe's on the other foot now, isn't it, Peter Quinnell? Oh, when I'm champion, I'll have the belt on my shoulder at all times. Not like that there, Luke. He constantly takes it off him and leaves it on the floor, so he does. Not me, though, pet. I'll always have it on me.
At least I left it on the windowsill in the office and not on the floor in the studio.
It's safer in here. It's doubly locked.
Kevin.
Pete.
I didn't realize I was printing the news this morning.
Am I not done with this? I'm not done with this.
I forgot, all right? I forgot I was doing the news.
Oh, pet.
So you have to take the belt back and forth from home in the studio.
I know, Pete.
I know you do.
I know, Pete.
I'm saying for the viewers, not you. I care about your opinion.
You gave me grief for it.
I did. Kevin says, I may be wrong, but I think this is the first time that Bryan came out of the heel tunnel. Also, some fans wanted Bryan versus Mox, some wanted Bryan with Mox. AEW said, gotcha, guys, and delivered with probably both. I love it. I love that Mox's promo isn't just words, he meant it. Most of the guys he has teamed with in the past are guys he fought before. Eddie, Penta, Phoenix, Pac, Darby, Archer. Those two can do some really good work together.
Oh, Kevin, that's such a good point.
That's great. Sari said, was this the match when a wider crowd finally realized how insanely great Lee Moriarty is? Bryan made him look like $1 million before killing him. And is now too early to start waiting for a healthy Kenny Omega versus Buddy Matthews match. Pure fire.
I really do miss Kenny. I really miss him on TV. You know, we said this last week about missing the Bucks on TV.
Yeah.
I proper miss Omega being on TV.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Nate S. said, Rosa Martinez had an amazing match. She fell victim to one of the classic blunders, the most famous of which is never get involved in a land war in Asia. Another lesser known, never get involved in a no DQ match with Thunder Rosa, hardcore legend.
She also made that classic mistake of putting a lot of chairs in the ring. As soon as Martinez started to do that, I was like, oh mate, your head is going straight into all of them.
Fatal error. Legit Underboss said the red one was retired and given to -1 in regards to the TNT belt.
Yes, I think that is absolutely fair.
Yes.
I just think that Cody could have had his own design.
Yes, totally.
Like everyone else has. I think Cody could have had, not like the original one, but certainly his own version of it.
Are you implying, Luke, that they didn't think through Cody's title win?
And they had 2 belts.
Crazy.
Cody, let's get onto this. 8-Bit Archer said, Cody going back to WWE seems a little incongruous, considering a lot of what he said was wanting to achieve and create what he had left previously. I'm not exactly sure what WWE will provide differently. Also, Ollie suddenly has a beef with Zack Sabre Jr. now.
He did an impression of Zack Sabre Jr. in the news.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because Eddie Kingston doesn't like Zack Sabre Jr. now Ollie doesn't like him?
He tried to do an impression of him because he was saying that spot in the Danielson thing, he was like, even that would have left Zack Sabre Jr. being like, all right, mate, what's this? And it was like proper rubbish. It was great.
That's superb. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the Tuesday Raw episode of like, I know there are people that are going like, oh, it's a work. Like our poll was 50% it's a work. There are people like, maybe he's going to go buy Ring of Honor, he's going to buy NWA. Like Sean was very clear on Fightful. This is not a work.
No. And
it's got nothing to do with Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And there have now been so many reports that he is heading back to WWE. I agree with you, though, 8-Bit Archer. It feels so bizarre because he has spent the last 8, nearly 10 years, really, since he left in like 2015 or wherever it was, flying the flag for independent wrestling and saying that there can be more than just one company at the top of this game. So there is clearly a lot to this.
Yeah.
I also think that, Cody is a smart man, and kind of the same with Kevin Owens. He's got a family and he wants to be able to provide for that family, make a lot of money in the process, and provide a really good life for his kid. And if WWE is the place that's going to provide you with that level of cash, then hell yeah. Well, and I don't begrudge him for doing that whatsoever.
Huh?
I mean, I've said before, I would be disappointed to see him go back because he has been that flag bearer for so long. And, I love that everything he's done in giving us All Elite Wrestling. But I would never begrudge a man for doing that to provide for their family. No, not at all.
Absolutely.
2K Amal said, Cody may have got a mixed reception from the AEW crowd, but at least there's a reaction every time he comes out. Does anyone think he'll get no reception from a WWE crowd after a few months? Also, if he just wanted to get the money, just join the Andrade Hardy family office. They've got no money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very good point. Like, apathetic WWE crowd. Well, here's what I'm hoping for. I hope that this lights a fire under WWE and makes them do something real good.
Yeah. You'd hope, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, is that the reports are that Vince et al. Are like, and the locker room have seen this as a massive victory for WWE.
Yeah.
As well they should.
Yeah.
This is a massive, massive win for WWE. They have got one of the co-founders of the competition, one of the guys who just held their secondary top title, one of their main events, one of their main guys, to go and sign for them. That is a huge win for WWE. 100%. They should be waving the flag of victory. But they keep telling us it's not competition. So, which is it?
Yeah.
Either this is nothing. Because if you're signing someone from someone who isn't a competition, then it's not a big signing at all.
Yeah.
But if you're like...
It's a cool signing. Cody was there in the past, and now
totally.
he's back after
Now
a
he's
break.
back.
That's cool. You've had people like that, like Drew McIntyre, who've gone nowhere after he left WWE and then reinvented himself and came back. Wow, he's better now. You could do that with Cody if you wanted to. But the point of getting him is the AEW founder, right?
Because they are competition. I think this is like... They have always towed the line of, they're not competition. Like YouTube is our competition, or TikTok, or whatever the competition they said on a previous investors call. Bullshit, mate. This is guaranteeing you they are competition, and they've always seen them as such.
The war is still alive.
And I love that. And I think they should have considered them as competition from the get-go,
Yes.
which they clearly have. Double Beef Gaming said, "What's up, guys? I thought Dynamite was really good last night. Good to see Keith Lee cut a promo to keep his momentum going. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think AEW will be okay without Cody for a while. More TV time for new and underused talent. I think that'll be all right for the future, really."
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
Not at all. Don't Mind Me, I'm at Work says, "Hello, gents. We all know that 3 hours for a show is too long, and we don't want to ruin the 1 hour Rampage, but what do you think about this? Thursday Night Thunder, tapered at Daily's Place to add more stories and build up Rampage with a hotter lead."
No.
We've already got Dark and Dark Elevation. That is all that'll be.
Yep.
Kimchi Cowboy, something I haven't seen news reporting regarding Cody. Dustin posted on Twitter he is happy to stay with AEW and isn't going anywhere. Very interesting. Love from Kazakhstan.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah. No, Dustin was like, I like being here, and I'm staying here.
Makes sense.
Jack Nichols, loved your email, by the way, said, "I'm loving the Brian Moxley stuff. Also, I could watch Sammy and Darby wrestle every day. Take care, lads. Have a great weekend."
Thank you.
You too. Raoul L has been in Memberg for 5 months that just says, "I'm Gorg."
I wish that were true.
Do you think he's winning?
No.
No. Zach Robinson has been in Memberg for 10 months in a row to say 10 months. Baby! Pete, my last 2 pay-per-view predictions for Wrestle League haven't been added, and I'm not listed in the standings. Can you look into this, please?
Message us on Patreon. Yeah. Message me on Patreon because I will forget.
Mang says, "The guy with a big push is out of a pay-per-view before Mania, and now someone who everybody likes coming in as a replacement. Sock Puppet Sully Mania is coming." By the way, what a banging episode of Dynamite. Every segment makes me go, oh, that's Revolution Match of the Night right there.
What a bloody show.
What a show,
What
right?
a show Revolution's going to be.
Mayor of Painesville Dan said, "Hey Luke, hey Pete, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being such great dudes. Also, oh my god, the Chip and Dale trailer. Oh my god. The flipping Cody news overshadowed what might be the second best trailer after Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Sorry, Luke, we really don't have time to talk about this. We've got to wrap this up now. Already overrun.
Great. Actually, we've still got loads of chats to get through.
Yep.
It is an amazing trailer, though. Someone messaged me being like, "Why do they make all of my childhood cartoons sad?" I was like, have you watched that trailer? And your takeaway from this is like, man, that's a sad trailer. Nickname Took Forever has been a Memberg for 10 months in a row and has got no comments. IBB says, "Hey lads, hope everyone is well. Question, do you want Kenny, if healthy, to return at the pay-per-view? I would love it as a post-match save, but I think the match itself needs to end clean. Kenny and Hangman reuniting is a beautiful ending to Revolution I crave."
I think Kenny shouldn't return at the pay-per-view because now I fantasy booked my own thing that I like more, which is that you have Red Dragon come out to attack Hangman, Young Bucks come out and attack Red Dragon, they both go for, so it's just Adam Cole and Hangman wins clean-ish after that, and then you can have Red Dragon and Adam Cole versus Young Bucks, kind of maybe with Hangman involved, and then Kenny comes back to reunite with Young Bucks, and then it's like, oh my god, what side is he gonna be on, etc.
I mean, that could be your double or nothing. Like one of your signature double or nothing matches is once Kenny is back, it's Kenny and the Bucks versus Undisputed Era.
Please.
Mod Mother says, "Pete, didn't you give Andy crap yesterday for not using this doc? And today you forgot you were presenting the news? Didn't you use the Google sheet that I made?" Hardest working man in the office.
I did check the Google sheet.
We went through it yesterday on a meeting, Pete.
Do you know when we checked? We looked at next week's schedule.
No, and we looked at this week because we went over this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend.
It's on the same
not Thursday.
It's on the same bit, Pete.
We were looking at the weekend days, all right? We were looking at Elimination Chamber. I did check the Google sheet at like 9 o'clock this morning after I should have started doing the news at about 7.
Kevin Cruz said, it's good to see Pete happy reviewing a great episode of NXT 2.0 and AEW, not having to defend his championship. Any more talk about the AEW reviews on a pole match between LIW and Luke and Ollie?
In progress, maybe.
Alistair Hollenby says, hey guys, just had a thought. Cody needs the world to think that he is turning his back on AEW, so when he suddenly comes back in a surprise entrant in the casino ladder match, everyone goes, yay, he came back to us, just food for thought. It is quite as, I mean, do you know what? Like, Abyss was going through like talks with WWE about leaving TNA and going towards like and signing with WWE for a match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Like they were in heavy discussion and it was like almost pen to paper. And it was all done as a way to work WWE and make TNA feel like the bigger deal. Backfired on them massively because no one cared. But it was they went, so there's precedent that it could happen. I think that we are trying too hard to figure out what the work is here when the more likely scenario is it's just a shoot, brother.
Yeah. And I don't know how that would go down, honestly. If Cody does come back, I don't know if people would be like, oh, he chose AEW. What a great guy. I think people would be like, why'd you do that?
Yeah, it's a long way to go to get back. And IBB lastly says, what if Yuta, Garcia, and Moriarty came down to the Ring of Revolution to help Mox win? Mox can say, I don't need you to teach violence. They've done such a good job that whatever avenue they go down, I know I'll love it. Mox Bryan faction is OP. Yeah.
Love it.
Love the idea of all of this. That is all we've got time for on this edition of the show. Big thank you to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Please do click the link in the video description down below. Support WrestleTalk, support each other, support yourself. BetterHelp, HELP. Click the link, get 10% off your first month using our promo code WRESTLE. Your mental health is very, very important to yourself. It's important to us. We want you to get the best help possible. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is proper therapy done online. You'll be it's available worldwide. You get your therapist in just under 48 hours. A fabulous service. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of the podcast, and thank you all so much for watching. In just 2.5 hours time, my interviews with Bianca Belair, the Street Profits, and Mustache Mountain will be available on this very channel. So please check back in a few hours time to watch through that. It was a lot of fun chatting with them. Talked a lot about Elimination Chamber. Street Profits talked about their dream matchup, which I'll be honest, on paper sounds like an incredible match. And Mustache Mountain were a delight to talk to about the future of NXT UK and more. So please do check that out. But until then, I have been Luke Owen. This has been Chopper Pete Quinnell. And that was Wrestling. Gem that gem, everyone.